How to buy a domain name for your blog. Here, I will share my best practices when choosing a domain name for your blog. It is possible that you will not nail it the first time, and it is okay. Some people are great with names and some are not so much. It is like everything else, needs practice, but don't let this stop you from starting a blog. Before you buy a domain name, you should already have brainstormed ideas and made niche research. Tips when choosing your domain name. Find out what you need to know before you buy a domain name for your blog. Relevant. Make your domain name relevant. It can have keywords in it, but it won't have to. Make it clear and simple, yet keep in mind if you are going to expand later, don't make your domain name too narrow. For example, it could be womensfeetheth.com instead of womenstoehep.com. This way you would have a bit more space to move. Sometimes people want to create a brand, and it is not a bad idea as long as it is not something xjd zeus3.com. You know? No one will remember something like that. Short. Keeping your domain name short is a good idea. As short as possible, less than 15 characters, would be optimal. Rememberable. So far you have learned that a domain name can contain keywords, it can be short and simple, or have a brand name to be easy to remember. Not confusing. Confusing? Let me explain. Avoid hyphens. Avoid numbers. Read your domain name idea out loud and see if it could mean something else, or let, for example, Google Translator read it for you. Make sure that there is no word sex in it and that the second word doesn't start with the same letter the first one ends. For example, mommemories.com, because it will look like this and can be hard to read for someone who doesn't hear it straight from you. Mommemories.com. It is possible that you will not nail it with your first domain, but the good news is that you can always change your domain name. Picking domain names has always been a struggle for me, and in the past my domains were terrible. Here are a few terrible domain names I had. Maybe these are not exactly correct, but you get an idea. bestchostonline.com, read it at loud. skinsolutions.xyz. In the past, it was lack of cash that made me choose more domains with extensions like info, org, xyz, which is a big no-no, but after those days I struggled with naming my domains. I wanted to get domain names right and save myself from the hassle and from losing money by making the right choice for the first time. This is what I learned. You can build a website without a domain name if you want to see is your cup of tea or not, and name your blog later. If you choose the wrong domain name, you can easily change that. Rollwith.com. Always go with .com extension if you find the exact domain you want. If you can't find the exact domain you want, you can add small words in front of it or behind it, such as the new, my, and so on. It is not an ideal solution but can work. You can also play with words and see if something you like is available with .com extension. I personally think that .net and .co are just as fine. I have noticed that, for example, .org is also very popular and pricey if it happens to be taken. It is usually taken after the .com extension. .co has a higher yearly price compared to .com. If you are targeting only specific areas like Australia, United Kingdom, co.uk, New Zealand, NZ, and so then you can go with a domain that is related to your country too. I am from Finland and my Finnish blogs would be located on something. Generate more ideas. There are tools you can use to generate more domain ideas. I personally have used a lot of Shopify's domain name generator. They come up with ideas I never thought about. You can also use Namamesh. Before you buy a domain name. Before you buy, you can make a few tests. Write it down to your browser and see what is located there. If there is nothing, it is a good sign. Otherwise, the domain may be taken and it is either in use, parked, or for sale, usually for a premium. Check if someone is using it. You may also want to check if the domain extension you want is available, but also social media accounts and Etsy. Check if someone else is using it or is known for it. You want to save your customers from confusion. Use a tool like Namecheck to check this, and don't forget to grab your social media accounts after your domain registration. Google it. Make search and Google it and see what pops up. You don't want to see anything negative or in the same industry. Make trademark check. It is always a good idea to make sure that your ideal domain does not have trademarked words or phrases. Make trademark check here. Extra tip, look what has been there before. You can do this for fun and curiosity. I like to check if domains I buy were taken before and what people were doing with them. For example, if it was a blog before, cool. If on the other hand, it was a trashy site, you may consider if you want to buy that domain or not. Go to the web archive to find out the past of your domain name if it has any. Conclusion. You want your domain name to be relevant to your niche, short and easy to remember, easy to spell and pronounce. Keep it simple and roll with com if possible. Check availability and trademark. Generate more ideas if your ideal domain is taken. Remember, if you don't nail it the first time, you can always change it later. Let me know in the comment field below if you have any questions and share your best practices when choosing a domain name.